This is the Escape Podcast for Star Wars The Old Republic. This week, we're going to break down the new boss fight, the Queen of the Genosians of the Mountain of the Wretched of the Hive of the Queen. And by breakdown, I mean we're going to break down crying over how hard the veteran mode happens to be. This broadcast Astromech is EPC 280. And playing alongside me is Seema. Hi, Seema. How's it going?
Hey, Max. Hey, chat room. It is going pretty well. We're recording on a Tuesday night this week, so we've just finished with MFN, and we had an extremely productive one. We started off the evening by killing one of the world boss on Ilum because it's Gree Week, and we did it on the PvP instance because that's where it was up, and we kind of outsmarted ourselves there because while we were fighting this boss, and I was like, why is everyone so hard to heal all of a sudden? And then we turn around, there's like 24 pubs in the back of the room shooting us.
Yeah.
But they were nice about it. They went ahead and killed off the boss after they killed us. So we got credit for the boss, and they had to wait for a respawn. So
yeah, that was
worked for
crazy.
us.
That was we were down. We had it down to about 9% when they came in. We didn't finish it. It was down to about 6% by the time they killed it. No, we were about 15. They killed us, and then they were
Proceeded to kill the boss.
Stupid, and I mean, made a mistake. Just got there's probably people in chat like yelling at them. Stop killing the boss.
Stop shooting. Stop shooting.
So they kill it. We're all
Probably.
laying there on the ground. We all got credit, and I purposefully rezzed and had the text ready to go, and I said, "Thanks for finishing off. Good job, guys!" Exclamation point, while they're killing me and shooting me in the face and killing me again. That was hilarious.
I did not res in place. I resed back at the med center. So anyway, that was fun. Then we went and did Xeno, and then we did many rampages. So we just covered the planet of Ilum with death and blue beams. And I'm referring to the loot beams.
Loot beams, yeah. Don't
yeah.
loot.
So
don't
and then
looting. You don't need those 11 credits. It's not worth it.
Right. It's too much clicking. And then we went to Hoth and did rampages there. So we basically did a world boss, Xeno, Ilum Rampage 1, 2, 3, Hoth Rampage 1, 2, 3, which actually also covered Galactic Rampage 2, 3. So we basically got like 40% of our Conquest large target this week, all on MFN night. So it was a good night, and it was fun.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
I've also been keeping up with my OSIS chores, meaning that I've been killing the world boss on 2 characters, 1 pub and 1 Imperial. Which, I mean, each one is its own experience. It's kind of hilarious, but I like it. One guy, he did a really good job of getting the group together and leading and all this stuff, and we got to the end of the droid boss, and I just sent him a towel saying, thank you for putting this group together. I know it's a bit of cat herding. I mean, I didn't know this guy. I just wanted to tell him that. And he responded back saying, thanks, but I'm getting kind of tired of doing this. I'm like, oh no, don't get tired. Keep doing it. We need people like you to do it.
Right.
But anyway, yes, I've been doing that and then doing the 10 dailies per week. So really, it doesn't take that long. And if you want to, you can pick your two or three favorite ones and just do them every day. And you don't have to do the ones where maybe you think they don't spawn enough or there's too much competition or whatever. But so I'm kind of getting into the OSIS daily swing. I like it. I think it's a good area. I think it's fun in the same or similar way to how I feel about the black hole dailies. It's just like something you can go and do when you want something to do. And right now it's good because the rewards are current and worth it. So that's good. And by rewards, I mean the slow accumulation of masterwork crystals.
Right. Which is fine. I think it's fine that it's slow.
And then I'm getting, bit by bit the 252 gear. So I have like 7 relics of devastating vengeance.
Right.
So, I got that going
which
for
we
me.
all do.
Yeah.
There's I think there's whatever there's 1,000 players on Jedi Covenant and 2,000 relics of devastating vengeance sitting around in people's inventory
Right.
that no
Right.
one will ever use because no one ever uses any relic besides Serendipitous Assault and Focused Retribution. I don't
That's
I
right.
don't know um,
The other relics, why
why
they even
even they
exist at this
exist.
point.
Those are the only relics that healers should use. Those are the only relics that tanks should use. You might end up using another one either because you don't have anything else or you didn't realize or it looks fine and it's not going to hurt you, but anybody who's looked up what relics to use, tanks, healers, DPS, every single person, Serendipitous Assault, Focused Retribution,
I
those are
mean,
the only relics
they
that
got
exist
rid
in the
of
game.
every stat and made it all mastery. Why don't they just get rid of all the relics that nobody wants?
Or bump up the utility or something of those other relics so that they're mildly interesting, but they're not. And I'm not going to use a click relic. I don't care. You could even
But
make the click
does
relics
someone,
more interesting
well,
and
I'm not
stuff
going
like
to do a
that.
quick run, but does somebody do the theocrafting for every tier? I mean, what if they have made them useful and we just don't know it because we don't even equip them?
Maybe, but people do do the theory crafting. I think we probably would have heard. Well, put it this way: if somebody out there did the theory crafting, you would get somebody somewhere pretty constant basis going, well, actually, and you would hear about it. It wouldn't be a secret.
I'm saying I would, yes, we would hear about it if somebody did the theocrafting. I'm proposing that nobody did the theocrafting because who's around that's doing that these days?
There are still I mean it's not a lot, but I think there are still like the DPS leaderboards people on SWTOR, on the parsley.io. Those people are still doing it.
Okay.
Regardless, yes, you are correct. It was fun. Good
What
assessment.
well yes, so yeah, it was fun. And OSIS is fun. I like OSIS. And now we're in double XP, double CXP, so that's exciting.
That is.
And I have one paired class left to get to rank 300, and that's smuggler agent. So that's what I'm working on right now.
I guess I have two. I'm almost done with Marauder Sentinel, and then I'll have Smuggler Agent to do as well. Interesting.
Yeah. So how's your week been?
So good. Yeah, I was looking through the things that we did just tonight and looking at all these green things lit up in the Conquest tab. It's like I open the tab and half of it's already done for the day. Uh, Obviously, I didn't do it on this character, but I did it on two other characters, and yeah, we're at 463,000 points for our little group.
I'm too lazy to switch characters, so I have like 25,000
Yeah,
conquest
you
points
do.
on my Merc.
Yeah, you're second. You're second on the leaderboard to Locus. Who's Locus? Somebody's alt I
That's
don't recognize.
Captain Peters.
Is it? There we go. Somebody else didn't switch characters. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that. I too have been slacking off a little bit on doing the world bosses on OSIS. I,
Why do you say I too? Because I just said I did them.
oh, but you said you only did them on two characters. That's slacking
I've
off in
never
my
done them on
book.
more than two.
Okay.
That's not slacking. That's my normal amount.
Oh, well, I, on the other hand, am slacking off
There you go.
for
Thank
what I
you
would
for that
normally
edit.
do against world bosses. I've been doing them on four characters. I think I did it on maybe only one, maybe two this week. I did do, and on at least three characters, I think at least three characters, I did the timed weekly this week, which was the 8 medals in PvP. And I did that pretty quick because I was doing it. I've moved to doing three mercenary commando characters. I have two mercenaries and one commando, same set of gear. I'm switching back and forth to try to get at least a full set of 252 before I start spending crystals to upgrade those pieces to 258. Because again, I've got no useful relics, but I've gotten, I've been disassembling relics and disassembling implants, but I still have a couple pieces. I think I only have one gear slot that's not 252. One tradable gear slot. Yeah, it's the belt. So main hand, offhand, and the 6 other gear pieces besides belt are all 252. My implants are 252, and then my earpiece is 248, and my relics are 248. So I'll try maybe another week, and then I'm going to add up how many Masterwork crystals I have. And as soon as I have enough Masterwork crystals to upgrade everything to 258, I'm going to start doing that and still roll the dice maybe for another week or two before I start buying 252 pieces with Masterwork
That's
crystals.
fascinating. I mean, how much are all your other stats on your gear? Like, read them out because that's entertaining.
Are you making fun of me? This is fascinating.
No.
I said it. I'm rolling the dice. It's gambling. It's got them gonna roll the dice and get some more relics. Anyways, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah,
PvP.
my
Shoot 'em
eye
up,
level, my
man.
overall eye level is 249, and it has been 249 since week 1 of OSIS.
Mine's 251. So a little bit higher, but not well, I guess it's almost 252, so that's where it
Here,
should
I'll
be.
do it too. My helm is 248. My chest is 248. My hands
It
248.
was people.
My waist.
Chat room,
Oh, my
back
waist
me
is
up, chat room.
252.
That was a good breakdown, wasn't it? Fine.
My
Seema
legs are
says,
248.
"Shut up,
My
Max.
feet are 2.
You're boring. Stop boring me with your boringness." Fine. Let's do the
My offhand is
news.
252.
Now,
My
an
main hand is
Imperial News
252.
Network report.
All
My
right.
first relic is 220.
Stop
Oh.
it. In the news, first up, companion influence will be fixed whenever the next patch comes, although we don't know yet when that will be. And now I will read out the influence of each of my companions. Oh man. So yeah, the companion influence where they started deleting the extra companions that had influence that you probably wanted. They deleted a random one or they deleted the higher one. Yeah, they're gonna fix it. I didn't like this so much that yeah, we're gonna fix it, but we're not gonna tell you when. All right. I guess it doesn't deserve an emergency patch,
But
but
that is
it's
kind
reasonable.
of that is kind of the pattern. It's like it's going to be in the patch whenever the next patch.
But sometimes it takes them quite a while for the next patch. So we could be sitting
Yeah.
here without
Yeah.
our. Some people could. Well, most of my companions seem okay. Some people could be missing their level 50 companions for a month and a half, and that doesn't seem very fun. So, I I I hope this accelerates their patch schedule of whatever it's going to be, and they throw in an extra bug fix patch in a few weeks if that's what they need to do. Don't
At
just
least they did say that when they restore it, they're going to take the higher of whatever.
Yes. So if you have another version of Shea Vizsla and your 50 Shea Vizsla is gone and you happen to have a 48 and it ends up at, or it was 49 and you have a new one that ends up getting to 50, gets slightly higher, they're not going to like delete that one now and give you a lower one because that was the one they were restoring. So yeah, I guess that makes sense. Glad for that clarification because you know it could have gone either way if they didn't think about it that way.
Yes. Right,
That makes
because
sense.
that's right. The lost Isaacs and other achievements from the new op are going to be retroactively fixed, and they're going to have the dates restored too. So even if you were you got the master mode achievements early on, but they didn't stick. That's the bug this is fixing. Is you got the achievements, but they didn't stick. And they're going to fix the stickiness of it. But they're also going to go back and adjust the date for those people who got it again after that. They're still going to go and adjust the date back to the original date they got that. The only thing that they have to do though is to make this kind of a change where they kind of roll through the whole database to make these changes, it has to be during a downtime. So again, it's not scheduled because they don't know when the next downtime is going to be.
And you had a good point in here in the description of when Eric talked about it. He did say, what did he say? He said,
he said that
yeah, go ahead.
It's because it affects. It's important because it's an achievement and people work for those achievements. But since it affects a small number of people, it's not. They can't schedule a downtime just for this, so it'll be in the next scheduled downtime. That's for a bunch of stuff altogether.
Right. which I thought was interesting on a couple ways when Seema pointed that out to me, because it at least indicates that they do have a relatively defined process of what when is it worth it to do a downtime, how much will we balance impacting the players that are impacted by a bug versus the players that will be impacted by taking the servers down and doing a maintenance, and there is some sort of calculus behind that. Great, interesting to hear. Not that I thought they were just like willy-nilly rolling the dice every time they decided whether or not to do a fix, but even just a little bit of a peek into, hey, we've got a process for this and we need to execute our process. I think that's reasonable.
And even though it's not what people wanted to hear, it's a certain level of transparency that I give them credit.
Mm-hmm. Final, only other piece of news was we've been talking about it for a while. Other people have been talking about it. Range companions who are further than 30 meters away from a target while in combat will not automatically enter combat range, and they need to be micromanaged in order to get them into the fight. Yeah, we've been talking about it for a while. That's been happening for maybe since 5.10.
Yeah.
I first read this
A while.
incorrectly, and Seema also corrected me on this amongst the many things she's correcting me on tonight, including my boringness. Eric said, "This is something the team is aware of and looking to address in a future patch. I will get it added to the known issues list for clarity." So I first read this as, now, we now have, thank you for notifying this. Now we'll add it to a known issues list. But no, they may have known about it for quite a while. He's adding it to the public known issues list, so it's clear to us as well that it's something that's on their radar.
That they know about it, yeah. And you said a funny thing about it too. It's like I made the comment that I've just gotten into the habit now of I just mount up between every pull because it's just because I have that now, since we have that ability to mount up as you're running.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't cost any time to mount up and go like 5 feet to the next pull.
Right.
And then dismount. But that way I know that Shea Vizsla is in range with me. And also, this is probably not the best thing to say, but as someone pointed out to me in Guild, when you do that, it resets her her death from above thing. It's called
her little AoE ability.
Her aerial annihilation. She doesn't always cast it first thing or use it first thing, but I looked at it, and mounting up does reset the cooldown on it. So there's that. But when I mentioned that I was just getting in the habit of doing that, you said like years from now we'll all be like mounting up to go like 5 feet. There won't be any reason to do it anymore, but we will have done it for this, and nobody will know why.
Someone new will come into the game and say, "Why do you keep mounting up to go 5 feet to the next pack?" And we'll go, "I don't know. That's just the way you need to do it." Well, it's just be like a built-in muscle memory that will be passed down as tradition, and no one will know why.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. What about guild news, Seema? What do we got coming up in the guild this week?
This week, Friday night is the February
Friday.
Mega. Marcus is planning to take people through some datacrons, and after the datacrons, we're going to go and take a look at the Hive of the Wretched, Queen of the Hive of the Mountain.
Yes, we are the Mountain of the Queen of the Wretched of the Hive of the Mountain of the Queen. Yeah, that should be fun. Well, at least the datacron part. Marcus really loves that queen fight. I think he's been doing it every day and wondering why we're not doing it twice. But that's cool. So,
yep.
But I think what he's looking forward to doing Friday, so be there if you can, is to do it with 16 people, which we have a good likelihood of doing on Friday. So if you want to see it with 16 people, which from what I've heard, especially dealing with all those eggs all around and the extra people all around, that's quite fun, and for some definition of fun. But we'll be doing it on story mode, which is not what makes you cry, which we'll talk about shortly. But be there. We'll do it in 16 with 16 people. This past week, we had another event for our guild, which was Ralph's Amazing Race in the World of Warcraft Guild. It's a little bit of a remembrance event from a guildie who passed away 2 years ago on the 17th. That was the anniversary, and it's a celebration of of a really awesome person and a thing he wanted to do. And we've done it in Star Wars. We're now doing it in World of Warcraft because that was one of his last initiatives that he was working on, was bringing that event to World of Warcraft. Oh, hold on, I have to rotate my camera on here. Big fat streaker running by, jumping off the cliff.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
He's
there he
on
goes. Look,
Moses?
yeah, right down there. Look, running down. Oh, oh, he just got killed.
Oh.
Look, he's resable. You can go down there and res him. Oh, he released.
I don't.
Anyway, it was an awesome event. It came out really well. There should be recordings of it around. We hosted it on our Twitch channel for the guild, the twitch.tv/AIE guild, but I don't think the recording is up there. We're going to have to get it over there. I think it was on Cyrene, one of our WoW directors and officers on her channel. So if you want to see that, we'll post a link somewhere.
Yes, and the event itself was a little bit sort of like a kind of like a scavenger hunt, but not really. But what we did, or what they did in WoW, I just took part. They decided to do it what they called escape room style, which is like everybody was on the same team, and so they went around in a team and figured out the clues together, and it actually worked really well because everyone, it was fun. Nobody was left behind and getting frustrated because they didn't get the clue or whatever. And plus, since they were working together, they got the clues really fast, so it was a nice pace. I think we should do it that way next time we do something similar.
I agree. Yeah, it did really work out well, and for all of those reasons, and it was quite fun. It visited some really obscure locations in the game, and that's the way we've done it in Star Wars as well. And then there was a little bit of a challenge at each one of the locations, and yeah, it was a really cool event. And we will have to spin it back up. We'll make sure we remind Marcus of that kind of event, and I bet we could do it for Mega before too long.
And we might have to do some convincing to make it non-competitive like that, though. Because Marcus,
well, he likes the prizes. He doesn't actually care who wins or that it's competitive, but he likes his invention of the prizes, which is a special in-game guild title that we put in the guild roster as a comment next to your name that you get for winning one of our events, which was really clever. Also, shout out to the chat room. Thank you, everybody. I did mess around with my audio settings, and the chat room was brilliant in letting us know that everything seems to be working out. So hopefully this is going to come out well this week for everybody who's listening afterwards, either on YouTube or on our recording on all of the feeds. And also thank you to the chat room for keeping us up to date and tracking, like B. Kavanaugh noting the time code for when Seema said, "Max, stop being boring. You're boring people with your boring boringness." Because we will want to record that and make sure we keep track of those kinds of
To be
statements.
fair, that was a little bit of a reference too, because we've both recently read the same lit RPG book where every time the character levels up or gets a new weapon or whatever, the reader has to read out the reader has to read out all the stats, because that's what, and you can just see that if you're reading the book, it wouldn't be any big deal. You just skim it and go on. But when you're listening, it pretty much stops the action.
Yeah, and I was saying in that the Land series, it's only gotten worse because now he's like getting a bunch of achievements and stuff or whatever, and he reads out every single one. It's like, criminy. Some of the other lit RPG books, I read these as just sort of like background noise when I'm playing games. I find it works pretty well. And some of the other ones are getting better. Anyway, this isn't Book Talk. That's a different podcast of ours, which doesn't exist. This is SWTOR Escape Podcast. So we're going to talk about the Killer Queen. She's a killer queen, gunpowder gelatine, dynamite with a laser beam, guaranteed to blow your mind. Can't play too much of that, or we'll get those copyright strikes against us. Yeah, Killer Queen. I'm a Queen fan, by the way, but we're talking about the Queen of the Hive, of the Osis, of the Queen of the Wretched of the Hive. And I've killed it so far. Seema's seen it, but hasn't killed it. And we'll be killing it plenty in the next couple weeks.
I've seen it in pictures.
Pictures and videos. So Seema's going to be asking the questions. I'm going to be walking through some of the strats. We also found some good write-ups. We'll talk about those. Talk about some of the strats for both story mode and veteran mode. But yeah, I wanted to introduce it with that little clip, which is a favorite of mine. And I wanted to let you know some of the background lore. So here's a codex entry that I tracked down about the boss. She keeps her Alderanian brandy in her pretty cabinet. Let them let them eat blue milk panna cotta, she says, just like Darth Antoinette. A built-in remedy for Ragnos and Tenebris. Anytime an invitation you can't decline. That's what's in the codex entry, I swear.
Yes, I believe you totally.
It didn't rhyme exactly, but it came out pretty well, I thought. Anyway, there is a codex entry. In fact, let me look that up. I did want to read one now that we're on the topic of codex entries. For one thing, as I'm looking up the codex entry, I'm looking it up on Delphi's page. So Delphi had someone here. She even has a little note for the author. Teheho, Theho, the ho. No. Regardless, this person is the author, and they've been playing extensively. I guess it's German, so who knows what that word means in German. Excellent write-up, excellent guide, really well done, really well annotated, nicely graphically done. I recommend, if you're looking for a guide for story mode or veteran mode for this boss, that guide that was done on the Delphi site is just really good. And they even put the codex entry in at the bottom. So here's the codex entry, and there was some criticism, and every place I see this written up, like on Reddit and the forums and in Twitter, constantly people are replying, geez, it's supposed to be a Genosian, it looks like a Colicoid, they're so dumb. Whatever. That's my internet person voice. There is a codex entry which explains it, which is, when designing her mutated Genosian super soldiers for the assault on Ossus, Darth Melora ensured that her new army would be both self-sustaining and nigh impossible to eradicate. Given their insectoid nature, the key to Melora's success was in the careful creation of the mutant's queen. Natural Genosian queens have poor mobility and defend themselves only via indirect means. Thus, Melora chose to splice her queen's internal structure into the body frame of a Colicoid, tremendously increasing the creature's speed and natural defensive capabilities. Like the soldiers it brings to life, the mutated queen also has a reinforced carapace, enhanced sensory organs, and a vicious temperament. The resulting hybrid may well be Melora's most dangerous creation. So whether or not that's the only reason they did it from a design perspective, there is at least a lore piece behind it too, which is, yes, it is a hybrid with some Colicoid DNA in there as well. Any speculation, Seema? I have a little bit of speculation also about why it may have been done that way from a design perspective. You want me to tell you?
Well, they did do a model update for some of the Killik. So it wasn't that they didn't want to do a model update.
Right,
but I think this makes
Genosian,
the
the big
queen.
ones, yeah.
Yeah, this is the Genosian. The queen. This makes it very clear that the queen is not the same as all the others.
Yes.
Because
so it gives her a unique look. I think it also is nice because it's a quadruped. It's like a bigger boss thing. So it stands out more that way too. It's not just another biped in a sea of bipeds when they're fighting in the ads. You're right, and it is a bigger thing with a bigger hitbox and a big area to make it a more substantial boss. Not they couldn't have done a biped boss, but there are other big ads that are there's big ads and there's small ads and there's smaller ads and there's tons of ads in this fight, and that's part of it. So yeah, I didn't even really put that piece completely together, but you're absolutely right, Seema. It really sets it apart even during the fight. So I think that makes a lot of sense. So let's talk a little bit about the fight. I like the fight. I really like the fight. I think it's super cool. I like the place, the map that you're getting into. It's sort of it's not. It's only a 5-10 minutes worth of trash to get through the map and get into the zone where the lair is to fight the queen. But as you go through that map, you're also fighting sets of ads which match the mechanics of the ads that you fight in the fight. You come across some eggs, and the eggs do a certain thing. You come across the what are they called? The caustic drones, with the spitters. You come across the royal guards and what they do, and you need to figure those. You get to at least to see that, and I think that's a really good way to teach people the mechanics of the fight before you get into the fight room. If people are paying attention the first time they go through, any guild that's trying to get a world first, they'll have some clues as they go through. Something else to keep an eye out for. So, spoiler: close your ears if you haven't gotten through here and you don't want to be even the littlest thing spoiled. As you go along, there's a couple points where you need to blast your way through a wall. You need to set some explosives. This is an ideal point to kill your group. And Marcus killed the entire group once, taking his ops team through last Wednesday, and part of the group even the second time. It does this giant. Look, the one area he did it in, you had to sort of jump down in there, and then he set off the explosive. And even if you tried to run away, it's like you couldn't get away from the explosive. I didn't see exactly what he did and where we were, but I tried to run away, and there was no way to run. I couldn't jump back up the hill, so I died. So that was pretty hilarious. Our Thursday night ops team loves opportunities to kill guild members, to kill ops team members. So I am sure this will be abused. Then also, as you're going through there, there's a little hidden achievement where you can find some relics and stuff along the way, and then you get yourself into the lair, which I think is pretty cool. So I'll go through some of the basic mechanics, but then feel free to jump in and ask questions along the way, Seema.
Okay.
I thought I would break it down with the breakdown of the basics of the fight, which is the deal is, there's a boss and there's ads, but the eggs are the main part of the fight. So as you get in here, as you get into the room, what you find out is what you see, and if you sort of see it in this overhead view, there's basically a grid of evenly spaced eggs throughout the room. And the management of those eggs is really what's make or break on especially veteran mode of the fight. Those eggs need to be managed in a specific way, because as the eggs hatch, depending on the state of the egg, a different ad may hatch out of it. And you can tell when the ad is going to hatch out of the egg by if the egg is solid or it's partially broken. And you can force eggs to break in certain conditions, and that deal of breaking eggs versus not breaking eggs and clearing some eggs out and understanding which egg's going to do what, that's really the management of what can make or break the fight. So the babbies, how is babby formed? That's really the foundation. I've found a little callback there to previous episodes, and something we'll probably say in every show from now on ever.
Yes. Undoubtedly.
But there's red eggs and blue eggs, so they all start blue, right? And eggs keep coming back throughout the fight. So even if you break an egg and an ad comes out of it, or an ad doesn't come out of it, the eggs keep coming back and they're blue. And then there's sort of like two hits on the egg to break it. The first hit makes it glow, makes sort of the cracks light up and sort of beams come out of it. Then it's in the cracked state, and so you can hit it once with an ability, or the boss can hit it once and it gets into the cracked state, and then if you hit it again, it's in the broken state. There's blue eggs and there's red eggs. They all start blue, and the boss has an ability that turns some eggs red, and I'll talk about that in a second. And then the boss and some of the ads have the ability to get it into a single crack or a double, do two hits all at once to get it into a cracked state. And we'll talk about that in a bit. So figuring out which eggs do what, and figuring out what comes out of which eggs, like red eggs are bad, allows you then to manage the state of the eggs in the room, which is pretty cool. So let's talk about those eggs. The blue eggs, the ads that come out of the blue eggs are little ads. They're strongs. They're called lacerators. They don't do that much damage. What you should be doing then is pretty much ignoring them. You run them to the boss. Most people are grouped up on the boss. You just let cleave damage, dot spread, those kinds of things. Maybe throw out an AoE once in a while. You're mostly damaging the boss and just ignoring those ads. They'll die. The red eggs, if an egg turns red and gets broken by the boss, what will happen then is a berserker will come out of it. And that's an elite mob. And they have some pretty nasty abilities that are even nastier in veteran mode. So if a berserker comes out or multiple berserkers come out, you need to kill them. So that is a key to the fight as well. Now there's two other kinds of ads that are being summoned throughout the fight that the boss calls in. They're big ones, big champion mobs called the Royal Guards, and I think they're two elites that come out on a rotating schedule opposite the champions. It's the champions come out, then some things happen, then the caustic drones come out, then some things happen, then champions come out, and then some things happen. So the caustic drones, they do this spit ability that puts spit on people, and that'll stack. It does problems. It causes problems for people, but it can also break eggs, and that's important. And then the Royal Guards come out, and they're these big champion mobs. They come out, and they have this big cleave, and you don't want to get cleaved into the group because they'll hurt you quite bad. And that that cleave can also break eggs. And the trick is that the caustic drones and the Royal Guards, so the caustic spit and the Royal Guards cleave, if those break an egg, a blue egg or a red egg, it cracks the egg and no ad comes out of it. So that's good. That's useful.
So I only get an ad from the egg if the boss
Yes.
is the one that
the boss or a player, because indirectly the boss is doing it because it puts circles on the players too, which we'll talk about in a second. So it's either from your circles cracking eggs, or at a couple times in the fight, the boss will just do I think it does the rallying call, which does a hit to break a whole bunch of eggs at once, which can get, red and blue eggs broken. So there are a couple other ways that the boss is breaking eggs indirectly through players dropping circles on the ground. The key then is as the boss is turning some eggs red, and it's one per interim phase. See, he's got these real guard phases. One cast of this growth hormone in story mode, and 3 casts, 3 eggs turn red in veteran mode. If you got 3 eggs that light up red, if they're still solid and uncracked, they can take 2 hits to kill. If they're cracked, it's only going to take 1 hit to kill. If they all pop and you've got 3 berserkers out in veteran mode, that can really do damage to a group. In fact, that can come close to wiping a group. If it's 4 or more, you're pretty much guaranteed, it sounds like, to wipe the group, to have 4 berserkers out. So what you do is you let the boss, you keep those eggs safe by not dropping other circles on those eggs. And then when the caustic drones and the Royal Guards come out, you bring those over to the red eggs, and you use those to wipe the red eggs off the map. There's your trick. There's your key. That's the key to the fight right there. Otherwise, what you're also trying to do is you will be getting circles on you that the boss is putting out. That circle, and here's a picture of it. It's a pretty big circle. The red part of the circle damages other players. It puts a stacking dot on them that is cleansable, but it's a mess, so you want to get that away from your group. The red part of that circle does 2 hits to eggs, so you don't want to ever put that red circle on red eggs. And then the big yellow circle does 1 hit to eggs, 1 out of 2. So you also don't want that ever on red eggs. But you can use this to clear out blue eggs and to sort of clear some space on the map. So you can keep red eggs on one side and have the boss, when she throws out her growth hormone, getting red eggs mostly on the other side of the map if you're clearing out another side with these big circles, but trying not to get the circles too much on your friends so they're not dying. So you're using those circles, and there's multiple circles that start coming out later. You're using those, especially that red middle circle, to crack those blue eggs. Because remember, the ads that are coming out of the blue eggs, they're little, they're weak. You stack them up on the boss, and you ignore them, and they'll go down. You might end up with like 20 of them, on the boss, but still, it's not very much. They don't hit very hard. They go down. So that's key. You want to be cracking blue eggs. You want to clear out blue eggs. You don't care about the blue eggs. Managing the red eggs is the key to the fight. How's that? Pretty cool?
So once you get all the eggs managed and the fight is over?
Pretty much. Here's
Oh.
the trick. So you have to be shooting the boss the whole time. And there's a couple other tricks, especially in veteran mode, like the big champion guards that come out that you're using to clear off the red eggs. They have a special execute ability. So here, I wanted to show you this too, real quick. This guy put this together in the guide. They first do this thing called a staggering strike, right? That staggering strike will stun the tank or whoever has aggro on the champion royal guard at the time. If at the end of the 4.5 seconds later, after the staggering strike, the royal guard will cast an ability, and it's a 0.8 second cast of an execute. And if you are still staggered during the time when the royal guard casts the execute, you die. So the trick is you need to do a hard stun at the time when he's going to do that execute. But remember, there's a 4.5 second delay before they cast the execute. So you can't say, "Oh, he cast staggering strike. I need to do a hard stun now," because those hard stuns, like a carbonize or a electro
Only
dart,
lasts 4
they
seconds.
only last 4 seconds. So if you do it too soon, then you gotta wait. You gotta wait a little bit, and then cast wait 2 seconds, then cast your hard stun, so you overlap that execute window. So it's a little crazy. But the other thing is, you need to be DPSing the boss, and it's a DPS race, especially in veteran mode. So there are a couple of videos out there of people killing it in veteran mode, and you really need to kill it in about 4 minutes in veteran mode. Otherwise, more bad things happen. There's a soft enrage that happens at 4 minutes. There's a harder enrage that happens at 6 minutes. And there's a full hard enrage at 7:45. But if you get to 6 minutes on veteran mode, you're pretty much dead, because the soft enrage is enough to kill you. So you need to have a lot of DPS. You need to be DPSing the boss every second that you're not doing another of the important tasks, like killing one of those champions or killing one of the caustic drones. And you need to be very fast in switching back to the boss and ignoring all of the other ads that you should not be DPSing, making sure that you're getting extra DPS on the boss. Hard DPS on the boss, that's a DPS check. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Excellent. So watch the videos of people doing it. You'll see that they're pushing the couple of videos that are out there. They're pushing like 4.5 minutes, and people are starting to die, and you end up in a burn at the end there with the boss, because she's going to start putting out multiple circles, and more eggs are going to start breaking, and more of the bad red eggs are going to break. So more berserkers are going to come. By 4 minutes, you need to be in burn phase,
Right.
and taco hard and sweep the leg, as we say.
So I have a question. I mean,
Yes.
I hear when I'm on Osis, I hear people all the time forming up for Queen, and I just haven't done it because I was focused on doing other things. But I I get the impression that people are successfully killing this boss in pugs in story mode, and I hear people
Yes.
forming up pugs for heroic mode too. But I don't know. I don't know if that's just wishful thinking or if they're actually pugging them on veteran mode. So do you know?
I don't think anybody's pugging it on veteran mode from what I've heard yet.
Okay.
I doubt it on veteran mode. But I could definitely see it being done on story mode. I heard 16 man is a lot crazier than 8 man. which I have not seen yet. But I also heard that of people that have tried to pug it, it's just been a train wreck on veteran mode, like
Well,
getting it down to
I,
maybe 60%.
I mean, I think it would be tough just listening to you talk about it, even on story mode, because I'm comparing it to the Droid World Boss, where people don't really do the mechanics at all. They just die and run back.
Right.
And there's only one mechanic in
Yes.
that fight.
Yeah. Yeah. And you need multiple
So
people to
you
have
see where I'm
multiple
going with
roles.
that.
The two tanks need to be doing
Yeah.
different things, and the DPS need to be switching only at certain times. And you need to be handling, like, you need to be stunning maybe a caustic drone or stunning a berserker to handle it if a tank is doing something else at the time. You need to have your timing down. This is not something yet, and you can't run back. So
Right. Right.
this
No
is
running back.
this is one video I found from a guild called Kraken. Um, if you listen to it, they're French. So step one of my strategy from learning this video was learn French. Step two,
Yes, first thing.
first learn French. Then when the boss comes at you, you kill it. But here you can see them sort of fighting the fight here. The big circles going out. Run away from the group a little bit with that circle, but go ahead and break some of the eggs. And you'll see people trying to like break multiple eggs at a time. With those red circles and the yellow circles, but staying away from the red eggs on the left side of the screen here. That's all a cool part of the strategy.
Wow.
They did
What's
have somebody die. One
okay,
of their tanks
so
died.
I'm not colorblind, and looking at that, there's not a huge difference really between the red eggs and the blue eggs. I mean, it's like a pastel red and a pastel blue. I can't imagine that people who are colorblind could tell the difference.
Well, the red eggs do have a red beam that comes that sticks up out of them. So you
Yes, I do see that.
potentially
Okay, so
could
the blue ones don't have a beam at all.
no, the
Okay,
blue ones
there
don't
you
have a
go.
beam at all. But and then there's a little bit of the difference between uncracked and cracked. See that difference here? So like this red egg is uncracked. This red egg with the beams coming out of it. This is not at the highest resolution, but is cracked. This blue egg is uncracked. This blue egg with beams coming out of it is cracked. So remember, it's 2 hits to break an uncracked egg. It's only
Yeah,
1 hit to break a
I do
cracked egg.
remember.
So that is cool. So all these little mobs, just ignore them. They're coming to the boss. Here's the big champion mobs. So when you see them, now they've got one down there. They said that so the tank's going to be on this one. So you sort of just stun the other one for a minute. You'll see the yellow telegraph come out from this boss. They don't. This French guild did not use the yellow telegraphs to break red eggs. Oh no, here they did. They just broke one. Good. I didn't see that. One of the strats says you can break some of them with these champions, but it's easier to break them with the caustic drones. The caustic drones are the ones that do this blobs of spit. And the reason that is because they don't do a ton of damage. So you can like stun one or kill one and keep the other one up for a little while and have an off tank run around and drop spit on a bunch of red eggs, or as many as they can. Maybe you only get 2 of them by the time you need to kill that caustic drone. But see, now the boss just did that ability where, what is that ability called? Rallying call. So rallying call, the boss is going to do a rallying call here. It gets towards the after the royal guards come out. Rallying call does a hit on all of the eggs. So you see here you've got a partially cracked, 3 partially cracked red eggs. All those eggs are going to crack, and any other blue egg that's partially cracked is going to crack. So they're going to get 3 berserkers up right there. Now 3 berserkers is a little bit much to deal with, but the boss is only down to 10%. So someone, I think an off tank here, is just going to start kiting those extra berserkers around, and everyone else. So see, you're going to see a tank here, I think, that's going to die off of those berserkers. Everyone else is see it, the boss is down to 3%, 2%, 1%. They're just kiting all of the ads, ignoring the ads, sweeping the leg. 2 people die, 3 people die. The boss goes down, and they win. That's the way veteran fights are going to go. And these guys are pumping out the DPS, let me tell you. So, pretty cool fight. You ready, Seema? Veteran mode? Should we
I am
go
ready.
back to the entrance, you and me, 2 man?
I'm ready for story mode. Well, no, with a group.
Yes.
We already tried the Max and Sema mode.
Yes, we did, and we didn't get through the first trash pull in the in the tunnel
No, we did
because
not get far.
it's two of those champions to start off. Um, so yeah, it's pretty cool. Uh, so that just leaves us with why do it? Why are we bothering? And why are we bothering? Why do we want to kill the queen? Besides it being a thing to do that's there to a mountain to climb.
Yeah, why do we want to?
Because this is the way you get 258 weapons. This is the only way you can get 258 weapons.
Oh, okay.
So there is a
But
weekly.
that's from veteran mode, right?
Yes, only from veteran mode. So there is a weekly. That weekly is for 250 for the what is it called? The monstrous. I abbreviated it to mon and now monumental.
Monumental.
Monumental crystal. So you need, I think, 4 monumental crystals to buy an upgrade from a 252 to 258 weapon. The weekly on the queen will get you 1 monumental crystal. The weekly on the queen, if you do veteran mode, also drops 3 forgotten transformers, which are an epic crafting material which you could use to craft 258 weapons, but I think that takes a million other materials as well. And then I heard, this is in this guide, and I saw in comments elsewhere, there's a small chance in veteran mode for it to drop something called a Genosian Handler's License, which is
Ooh.
one of those Genosian captain model companions. Which is
Now
cool.
that would be
Because when
cool.
we did that, if you remember when we were doing the even on the podcast, I was saying I'd love one of these as a companion.
Yes, they are very cool looking.
So I guess we got to go do veteran mode, probably about 100 times for it to drop, and enough times for us to get a couple for our team. But I'm up for it. And then I also saw in this guide, which I hadn't realized, that they added a new deco vendor this patch called D3CO. So there's another droid deco vendor. Maybe he's back there at the base. And this deco vendor will sell a new set of decos that cost Masterwork crystals. So
Mm.
apparently, if you're swimming in Masterwork crystals, because we're going to be grinding this forever, if you're
Mm-hmm.
swimming in extra Masterwork crystals, you can use those Masterwork crystals to buy new some extra decos as well. So that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's a little bit of incentive for somebody who's done all the content to stay a little bit longer because they can earn a few more masterwork crystals and buy some decos.
Yeah, yeah. If you start getting those Masterwork crystals stacking up, which I imagine people will, might as well. So
Yeah,
at least
eventually,
there
yeah.
is something there to use those on. I was gonna. Oh, I meant to go back to the base. I was gonna take a peek at that vendor before we left because I wanted to see if there's anything else really cool. Like it would be cool if you could pay a whole bunch of master crystals and get the Genosian companion.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, right. I was already thinking, well, if he drops, can you put him on the GTN? How many millions would that be?
yes. How many millions? Like 100 million. I wonder. I wonder if you could. They do this in World of Warcraft. Sell a carry through the queen.
Oh, I don't know if there's a culture of that here. But yeah, it's a big deal and
Right.
it's
There's some of
it's a
those
it's a
world
respected
first.
way. It's a respected way to make gold and wow, is to sell carries for the harder content.
So here's the D3CO droid. Let's see what you got for me, droid. Here he is. D3CO. Quick scan down. No, it doesn't look like there's any companion on here. But what do we got? Broken Genosian
Maybe
egg
one day.
clump for 2 masterwork crystals. Does that really sound worth it? Worth it? A broken Genosian
No.
egg clump. Wow. 3 masterwork crystals for creeping roots. Wow, guys, you really blown me away here with large stone torch. That's not too bad. Royal mucus for 1 masterwork crystal and 250 unassembled components. It doesn't even have a It doesn't even have a preview for Royal Mucus. Statue of the Forgotten Heroine for 1 monumental data crystal and 2 masterwork data crystals. Who's the Forgotten Heroine? Just some statue?
Yeah.
Huh.
Looks like a Padawan.
Memorial of the 3 masterwork data crystal. Wow. So I guess two of 3 and a pile of bones. A pile of bones for 1 masterwork and 2 1 monumental and 2 masterwork data crystals for this pile of bones. Really? Well, I guess that's a thing. So it will be impressive to see your pile of bones. All right. All right. So I think that is good. Any other final comments or questions there, Seema, before we wrap it up and get ready to do this next week?
Other than I'm looking forward to doing it.
Yeah, hopefully we'll do it Thursday.
Checking it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll see what's up with our team. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. All right. So I think with that, our EPC 280, that's only like 36 more, and we're at 300. EPC 280 droid is ready to broadcast this podcast to all of you, so we're going to kick it out of an airlock here. Please keep up with us on Twitter at MaxTheGray and at AIESEMA. And if you know any cool people that should be playing the game with us, tell them to come check out our podcast. They can find it on YouTube. They can find it on Twitch, twitch.tv/New Overlords. They can find it on newoverlords.com. They can find our guild if they just want to jump in and get a guild invite. We're on Starforge, and our guild website is aie-guild.org. There's a link in there where you can get on our Discord. You could jump in and say, hey, I've got a Republic character or an Imperial character. I want a guild invite, which we've done a couple of them in the last just couple days. You can get in there, and we'll get you all set up. We'll get you added. We'll get you in the guild. Our guild, our SWTOR guild has moved to not even needing a guild application, which we had this application system. We don't need that from you anymore. We'll just check you out in Discord and say, hey, how you doing? You looking for a guild invite? And we'll get you all squared away. So let us know. We'd love to have you come play with us. That's why we do this podcast. And with that, we will talk to you soon.
Later, everyone.